So I'm standing here in the Old South Meeting House, which is where the meeting that led to the Boston Tea Party took place. Now, most years, the Old South Meeting House partners with the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museum to do a reenactment of the Boston Tea Party. But, of course, because of the pandemic this year, that's not possible. And so instead, they're having me do this, which is hard to believe. I'm very excited for the opportunity, but I'm also a little bit scared. Uh, so, on behalf of everyone that's put this show together, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy what you see, please check out all of the great programming that Revolutionary Spaces is doing. And if you don't like it, Revolutionary Spaces got hacked. They had no idea we were doing this. The Boston Tea Party has been celebrated in Boston since the 19th century. Traditionally, on the anniversary, we would dump tea crates into the harbor. But in 1996, realizing that wasn't great for the environment, they substituted the tea with Governor Bill Weld. And who doesn't love the Tea Party? You know, all Americans love the Tea Party. It's a great story. All Americans, except, of course, super hipster historians that are like, actually, I'm more into the Stamp Act riots. So that is from my producer, Matt.
I just think the Stamp Act's cool.
And, they say that the tea dumped into the harbor, adjusted for inflation, would be worth about $2.7 million today. That would be like going to Fenway Park and dumping out 6 beers. It's an exaggeration, obviously. We actually did the math and we figured out that would be like going to Fenway Park and dumping out 12 beers. The beers are expensive at that baseball park is the joke we're going for. I hope it's landing. The Tea Party has inspired protesters for centuries. In fact, just 2 winters ago, the Earth itself adopted a variation when it dumped the sea into the tea. Speaking of the tea, the Old South Meeting House is actually on top of this tea station. The Old State House has an entrance to that same station underneath it. You might think it might not be that great to have trains going back and forth under 2 such old historic buildings, but evidently the tea never goes fast enough for it to do any damage. There's a lot of other really great historic sites around here too. Just around the corner is Faneuil Hall, sometimes called the Cradle of Liberty, often heralded as a free speech zone, yet I have been kicked out of the building numerous times for yelling fire. And once for yelling Yu-Gi-Oh! So, it might just be the yelling. It could be an issue of volume. And it's just amazing to be performing in this room where so many great historic speeches have been given. John Hancock spoke here, John Hancock, of course, best known for his signature on the Declaration of Independence being bigger than everyone else's. And the reason that he signed his name so big was he signed first and didn't actually realize that other people were going to sign, so he didn't leave space for the rest of the signatures. Kind of like a 5-year-old writing a birthday card. And John Hancock also was well known for his flamboyant style, being extremely wealthy and not paying taxes. So in a way, he's kind of like a colonial Wesley Snipes. Only difference, of course, John Hancock never went to jail. Should have overthrown the government blade. And it really would be great if we could have an audience here, but we've got to be safe during this pandemic. I will say this is not the first pandemic that Boston has suffered through. In fact, around the time of the American Revolution, there was a smallpox outbreak here in Boston. They used to take pus-filled chunks of pox off of the infected and then insert them into open wounds of healthy people to inoculate them. Really makes wearing a mask seem not so bad, right? I can wear a mask as long as I don't have to have pus inserted into my open wounds. All right. And I hope you enjoy the show. I am very aware that it is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Some people may be offended, but that's okay. Boston has a long storied tradition of being offended. Why, just around the corner is the Park Street Church. And in the 19th century, the Watch and Ward Committee was founded there. And there's actually a great exhibit about the Watchman Award right over here at the Old South Meeting House. But the Watchman Awards, they oversaw literature and performances they felt were unfit for public consumption, because if there's anything God hates, it's books and theater kids. And on behalf of all of the book reading theater kids responsible for the show, I want to thank you again for watching. We have a fantastic show.